Welcome back. My name is Henry at Henry's Millions, and today's day 25 of my 365-day challenge for 1 million subscribers. So today we're going to be discussing more of Meister Eckhart, Sermon 65. Why are we talking about God and spirituality all of a sudden? We've done 3 of them, 3 days. The honest answer is I don't know. I feel I'm being led to talk about what I cover every day. It's inspiration. As you remember, we were talking about willpower for a number of days using content from James Williams over 120 years ago. And that was extremely insightful. That was willpower. And I don't remember if we were discussing, we barely touched on love. In the past we did, but we need to do much more of that. And that's been a recurring theme. And now we're talking about God. And I can't help but to think of what are these 3 concepts? Where are we getting at? Willpower, God, and love. It's amazing. It's very interesting. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna follow this thing to the very end here in hopes that it will help us to lead better lives, make better decisions. So let's continue. Sermon 65 today by Meister Eckhart. If you're not familiar with him, he is a 13th century theologian, philosopher, and spiritual seeker. Hugely influential. I'll jump right into it, and then I'm going to quote some passages and see if we can reflect on some of this. And you'll notice that it does tie into what we've been talking about. Quote, "The just shall live forever, and their reward is with God." And he's quoting, I assume, a biblical passage. He continues, "Now let us look at this statement carefully. It may sound trite and commonplace, but in reality, it's a noteworthy and valuable saying. The just shall live." I'm almost sure it's a biblical passage, and he's quoting, and he's taking just that segment. The just shall live. Who are the just? He is just who gives to each what is his, who gives to God his due, and to the saints and angels theirs, and to fellow man what is his. If we look up just, it is someone who's just, is morally upright, righteous. How are we morally upright? We all have a sense of morality, of the difference between right and wrong, good or bad. We all have this sense. Some don't. Some people don't. But for the majority of us, we do. And also society, the humans collectively define what's right or wrong, good or bad. So I'm not too sure about the interplay there, but I know that we have this innate ability to judge what's good or bad, right and wrong for ourselves and the species and the community. So he says, God's due is glory. So he is saying the just shall live. Who are the just? The just give God his due and fellow man his due. What's God's due? God's due is glory. Who are they that glorify God? He asks. Those who having gone out of themselves, seek not their own in anything whatever it may be, whether great or small, who look for nothing under them, nor over them, nor beside them, nor inside them, not clinging to possessions, honors, comfort, pleasure, advantage, nor inwardness, nor holiness, nor reward. Having gone out of all this, all that is theirs, from these people God has glory. So he's saying the just glorify God by going out of themselves, by seeking not their own. So I'm assuming here that in seeking not our own and going out of ourselves, we must be asking the question, how can we act morally upright? How can we be righteous? These are questions we ask ourselves, and we provide the answers to ourselves. And if we're doing what is right, we're glorifying God, your Creator, the divine intelligence. He goes on to say, such a man is just in one way, but in another sense, the just are they that take everything alike from God. Oh, this is a real good passage. I'll repeat it. I'll start again. Such a man is just in one way, the way we've just described. But in another sense, the just are they that take everything alike from God, no matter what it is. Big or little, nice or nasty, all the same, no less and no more, one thing like another. So he's saying that the just are also those that take everything alike from God, no matter what it is. In other words, whatever happens, whether we deem it to be good or bad, we have to take everything alike. If we are just, according to what he's saying, we have to accept everything alike. Something good happens or something bad happens, we have to accept both just the same. We cannot be happy when something good happens and then upset or angry when something bad happens. That we have to have the same attitude, demeanor towards each of those. That is very, very profound. He says, if you count one thing more than another, that is not the right way. You must go right out of self-will. Remember, we spent days talking about willpower. Will is your capacity to decide, the capacity to decide and act, to hold attention to an idea in your mind. Could possibly be against conflicting ideas or urges or desires, and they come with energy, or they call that volitional effort or energy. So we must go right out of self-will. That means that we are not willing things for ourselves. We are not holding ideas in our mind that we want to be, do, or have, and in order to act on them. That's self-will. But to do the will of God, we're asking ourselves instead, what would God want me to do? What would my higher self want me to do? What would be the morally right thing to do? The next passage, he says, if God did not want what I wanted, then I should want what He does. Some people want to have their own way in all things. That is bad. There is fault in that. Those others are a little better who truly want what God wants and don't want anything against His will. But if they should fall sick, they would wish it were God's will that they should be better. These people then would rather that God willed according to their will than that they should will according to His. So he's saying this could be condoned, but it's not right. The just have no will at all. Whatever God wills, it is all one to them, however great the hardship. So the just have no will at all, no self-will. Whatever God wills, it is all one to them, however difficult it may be. Let me see what else I wanted to share with you. Okay, so he says, the just shall live. He repeats this segment again. There is nothing in all the world so dear and so desirable as life. So we're going into slightly different topic here, as you'll see. He says, there's nothing in all the world so dear and so desirable as life. No life is so miserable or so hard that a man would not want to go on living. And this is what really caught my attention in this sermon, because I remembered that the suicide rate is like an all-time high, especially in the United States, among young men. And these videos are not for men, and my channel is not just for men. Sorry, what I'm saying is it's inclusive, men and women, but the majority of suicides are done by men, and men between the ages of, 18 to 20 something, young men. So that's why this passage caught my eye, saying, no life is so miserable or so hard that a man would not want to go on living. Apparently, many men feel like they don't want to go on living. That's reality. I'm not contradicting him, but we want to get to the bottom of this. He says, he's referencing a writer, the nearer a thing is to death, the more painful it is. And yet, however miserable life may be, it wants to live. Why do you live? He asks, and someone would answer, for the sake of living. And yet you don't know why you live. Life is so desirable in itself that we desire it for itself. Those who are in hell in eternal pain would not wish to lose their life, because their life is so noble that it flows direct from God into the soul. And so because it thus flows immediately from God, they want to live. Why are so many of these young men committing suicide? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure in psychology they must have a lot of possible reasons for this. These are difficult times, and so much has changed. We've lost all of these institutions and the community and even family. We've lost so much. And people in tough situations don't have anyone to depend on and to lean on, and times have changed so much. But I wonder, and I think I know the answer to this, like these men, do they have a relationship with God? Do they have access to God? Today, in a time where people are so self-sufficient, so independent, that they've just, in the millions, have just done away with the idea of God altogether and have adopted spirituality. Remember, in spirituality, there's no, they adopt a lot of, they try to adopt a lot of the concepts from religion. And I'm not saying it's bad or wrong or anything like this. What I'm saying is there's a lot of things that are missing. Like, for example, the concept of surrendering, trusting in a higher power, being more comfortable because of that. They are unable to surrender because there's no one to surrender to. Whereas someone who is faithful and who believes in God can surrender to God. So these young men, I'm not sure if they have a relationship with God. I really doubt it, because if they did, I don't think they would be in the situation. I mean, the circumstances may may or may not be different, but certainly their decisions must be different. So that is sermon 65. And let me just make sure that there's nothing else I wanted to share with you. So I think that God, our Creator, and a relationship with God is crucial for life. And also love, because we'll talk about that later in the future. Love is something that involves our primary caregivers in our formative years, and that's where we learn how to love, and we have we adopt these traits, that these patterns for having relationships and so on, and the love of God is related to that. We're missing so much. So anyhow, if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them under the video. And if you found this to be helpful, feel free to share it. Thank you.